Hi there, everyone. Here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your news at 9.
Joplin city officials say COVID numbers are starting to look better, but they're still waiting on an official word from the state on when to expect vaccines. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
Vaccinations are up and new cases are down, but officials say it's still not enough to end the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Jonathan Seri in Atlanta. I'll have details coming up.
President Biden is moving ahead with his agenda, but for his most expensive item yet, he'll need Congress. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with more on the ongoing negotiations coming up.
Doug Heddy is weather tonight. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. 3 people are dead after a head-on crash in Lawrence County, Missouri last night. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says it happened a little after 9 on I-44, about 5 miles east of Mount Vernon. 85-year-old Everett Hare of Billings, Missouri was heading east in the westbound lane when he struck a car head-on. The occupants of that car included 17-year-old Isaac Fudge and Nevaeh Ost, both of Mount Vernon. All 3 were pronounced dead at the scene. Law enforcement in Veneta, Oklahoma have a suspect in custody for making threats against schools in the city. The schools were put on lockdown as a precaution against threats of a shooting at the schools. So far, authorities say 1 person has been arrested. More arrests are possible. No one at the schools was hurt. Police are still looking for a person of interest in the Sarcoxie, Missouri murder investigation. A stolen car has been found. The car was found outside of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Now, the person of interest still at large, Justin Chase Stevens of Coleman, Alabama. Police want to question Stevens in connection to the death of Becky Sanders from Sarcoxie. Sanders was found dead in her home back on January 13th. Well, the city of Joplin sees a decrease in coronavirus cases. Officials also expect to have vaccine for public vaccine clinics, quote, very soon. KOAM's Zach Dodge has this story.
I think things are looking up that we're going to get some vaccine.
A full week after Governor Parson activated Phase 1B, Tier 2 of vaccine distribution, officials in Joplin are cautiously optimistic that residents will see more vaccines in the area sooner rather than later.
The conversations we've been having over the last few days, I think that it's likely that we'll be able to get some vaccine in our hands for public clinics in the very near future.
Assistant City Manager Dan Pekarik says once those vaccines do come in, they'll be used for public vaccine clinics, which could be done in a large facility or drive-through. He says those clinics will also continue once other providers in the area have vaccines.
As vaccine hopefully becomes more available and some of these 35 individual vaccine providers that I mentioned in the community, they start getting vaccine and they can start administering vaccine to individuals. I think there'll probably be a blend of those 35 plus a public clinic every so often, kind of built into that equation.
Pekarik hopes to have more information about clinics later this week, but right now they're waiting on some final information from the state. Officials also gave an update on current case numbers that show a downward trend. The city's 7-day rolling average is at 21, down from around 50. The positivity rate is also down to just above 9%, and there are 49 total hospitalizations in Joplin. So with numbers trending down and vaccines being closer, Mayor Ryan Stanley thinks things are going in the right direction.
It's very clear to me, and I hope it's clear to the community, that we are certainly playing a winning hand when it comes to COVID, that we are absolutely in the process of winning this and defeating this virus.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
There's currently 136 active cases in Joplin. There's been 112 deaths also related to the virus. Take a look now at the case numbers at some area counties. Jasper County is reporting 6,885 total cases. Newton County, Missouri is reporting 4,832 cases. McDonald County has had 2,184. Crawford County, Kansas reports 4,095. Finally, Ottawa County, Oklahoma is at 3,355 total cases. Those new cases are trending downward, as we've been hearing about. Some states are reopening, but a new surge could be just around the corner, unfortunately, as a new COVID-19 strain spreads quickly. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seri has more now from Atlanta.
The White House is pulling out all the stops to keep President Biden's promise of 100 COVID-19 vaccine doses in 100 days. Stadiums and parking lots across the country now being turned into vaccination megacenters. But some states are complaining they're not getting enough doses for everyone who wants one. The CDC says it's working to fill gaps in the supply chain, but some officials are now suggesting a private company handle distribution.
Too much big government control has kind of messed it up.
But the co-chair of the COVID task force is pushing back on that criticism, noting the pace of vaccinations has increased to about 1 million every day. And some doctors say they're still working to convince a skeptical public that the vaccine is safe and effective.
38 million of those have already been given out. And so the key is not distribution. The key is, can we get it from being distributed into people's arms?
Some states are reporting progress. California lifting stay-at-home orders for all areas on Monday. But the new strain is spreading quickly. It first appeared in southern England, and now it's in more than a dozen states. And health officials confirm it's more virulent than the original.
Clearly has an increased capability of transmitting, and recent data from the UK indicates that it does have the inherent capability of making you more sick.
The CDC says this new COVID-19 mutation will likely become the dominant strain in the U.S. in March. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Doug Keddy joining us now with our first look at the forecast. First, though, yesterday was awesome. I want to ask you, though, before Super Bowl Sunday, what do you think are some things the Chiefs need to improve on?
Well, we lost our left tackle, which is going to be huge because that's a guy who protects little Patty back there. So that's going to be a problem, but I'm sure they'll figure that out. But besides that, they just got to really stay focused and beat the Bucs like they did earlier this season.
Yeah, it can happen. I'm not going to jinx it. It will happen. There's a good chance it will happen, though.
Yeah, it just stinks it's Tom Brady because he always finds a way to win.
Hey, we're drying out, finally. A little bit.
We are. We still have a little bit of drizzle out there, but we don't have the heavy amounts of rain like we had last night and then into the morning hours. In fact, most of us well over an inch of rain. We still went into the 50s for highs, but we still have some light little showers, a little bit of drizzle out there, and that's going to continue over the next several hours. The clouds are going to stick around, but the bulk of this system is rolling out of here. Now, right behind it, another storm system rolling in. Could give us some snow tomorrow night. We'll look at that here in a bit.
Doug, thanks as always. Canada's Department of Health and Environment has issued a stream advisory for Buck Run Creek along the area east of Scott Avenue and west of Highway 69 in Fort Scott. Officials say a manhole overflowed into the creek because of heavy rain. The city of Fort Scott has repaired the problem, but KDHE says no one should enter the creek until it has been cleared of contamination. City of Neosho, Missouri is asking voters to decide whether to tax online purchases. The City Council added a proposed use tax to the April 6th election ballot. It would be an additional 3% on items bought online, the same as the city's standard sales tax. The ballot language includes a line that says the use tax would eliminate an unfair advantage for out-of-state vendors.
That 3% for the online sales to out-of-state businesses, that affects not only local businesses, it affects, it affects your city government as well.
Again, that use tax proposal is going to appear on the April 6th ballot. President Biden is moving ahead with his agenda, signing executive orders that he can go ahead with alone, but his full agenda would need support from members of Congress. Some who say his first bill proposal is asking for too much money. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is in D.C. with this story.
President Biden signing a Made in America executive order to close loopholes and prioritize American companies for federal spending contracts. It's part of his plan to bring back the American economy, struggling from almost a year of coronavirus impacts.
I'm taking the first steps in my larger Build Back Better recovery plan that invests in American workers, unions, and businesses up and down the supply chain.
It was the second signing of the day. The first order rolled back a Trump administration ban on transgender people serving in the military.
And what I'm doing is enabling all qualified Americans to serve their country in uniform
While the administration is putting pen to paper on dozens of executive actions in its first days in office, Congress still controls the purse, where negotiations are ongoing for a $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. In a bipartisan call with the White House, some senators are concerned with the price tag.
Some of the other things, let's talk about, show us why you want that much money, and then let's talk again.
And there are Democratic concerns the additional $1,400 stimulus checks aren't targeted enough.
Will it be easy in the Senate? No, because we still only have 50 votes.
The White House says they know there will be changes before the final bill.
The president feels this is working as it should. He proposed his package. He's getting feedback. We're having conversations.
The White House is stressing a relief bill needs to be passed before additional unemployment insurance benefits run out in March. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our four-state heroes. Orland Darby served in the U.S. Army from 1971 to 72, spending time in Vietnam. And we are proud to thank Specialist 4th Class Orland Darby, a native of Toronto, Kansas. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast and later, the impeachment process of former President Trump. Moving on to the Senate.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a gloomy day for us today. We had showers, we had thunderstorms last night, some heavy amounts of rain across the region, and then just kind of clouds and on and off drizzle and light showers for us today. But over 1.25 inches of rain, so it was a very wet system for the month. We're over 3 inches, average is about 1.5 inches, so we're actually above where we should be for this time of the year. But you can see all the rain that rolled through on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. This is our time lapse for you from last night through about this time, and very gloomy outside. Temperatures kind of chilly, it's windy, it's 43 in Carthage, 42 in Miami, and then we're dropping into the 30s in our northern counties, 37 in Yates Center, 36 in Iola. We had east winds, then we got south winds, then we got west winds, and now we're getting northwest winds as an area of low pressure is now tracking across central Missouri. So we've kind of rotated around the entire area of low pressure for us today. But of course, we had some heavy amounts of rain last night into the morning hours for us today. And then most of the rain slowly worked on out of here. And then we have just had kind of the light showers since that point in time. I don't know where my data went here, but as we go through the rest of the overnight hours for us tonight, we're going to continue to at least have some clouds across the region and a little bit of drizzle. It's not going to be a huge deal, but we are going to have the clouds and some very light drizzle. As we work into the morning hours, I still think we're going to have the clouds, but the clouds will break up a little bit as we get into the afternoon. So we are actually going to get a little bit of sunshine as we work into tomorrow afternoon, which is always nice. We'll start at 33, 35 by noon, and a high temp of only 37. So it's going to be a cold day, even with a little bit of sun. It's also going to be a little windy. We're going to have those northwesterly winds at about 10 to 20, and gusts will be a little bit higher than that. As we go into tomorrow night, clouds thicken up again. So this is late evening. You can see some light snow picking up to our north and to our west near Kansas City and back toward Wichita. I think at this point in time, we'll start to get some light snow showers. They're going to be very scattered, and then they'll start to develop a little bit along and south of I-44. Again, these are going to be very hit and miss, but we'll get some light snow showers as we work through tomorrow night and then heading into Wednesday morning. Any snow showers that do develop, they'll be out of here by the time we head into Wednesday morning. And of course, I'm not expecting much from the system, but a little bit of light snow. All right, by Wednesday, we get sunshine again by the afternoon, but again, it stays on the cold side. So any snow that would develop tomorrow night, again, it's going to be very light, anywhere from a dusting, maybe upwards to an inch. I think the best chances to get closer to an inch will be in our southeastern counties, probably along the I-44 corridor, but not a huge deal. Thursday looks good. Friday looks good. And then by Saturday, our next storm system will start to brew, give us showers rolling into the area. But this looks like mainly a rain system. 37 tomorrow, some light snow showers tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. 49 Thursday, up to 57, though, by Friday.
Yeah, it's crazy. Snow out west in Arizona.
Yeah, all over the place.
All over the place, yeah. All right, Doug, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you, man. Coming up, former President Trump's second impeachment.
The Senate is set to begin the first ever impeachment trial of a former president. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details straight ahead.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders is throwing her hat in the ring to run for governor of Arkansas in next year's election. Huckabee Sanders served as the White House press secretary under President Trump from 2017 to 2019. That's when she returns to Arkansas. She's the daughter, as many of us know, of former Arkansas governor and former Republican presidential candidate Mike Huckabee. Huckabee Sanders had been widely expected to run for the office after leaving the White House, and former President Trump had publicly encouraged her to run. She's been laying the groundwork for candidacy, speaking to Republican groups around the state. The Senate is gearing up for the second impeachment trial of Donald Trump. If convicted, Congress could move to ban him from ever again serving as president of the United States. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Capitol Hill.
Tonight, the House officially handed over the impeachment process to the Senate, but it is still far from clear how this trial will end.
Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States.
Tonight, in a solemn procession, House Democrats walked over the impeachment article against Donald Trump to the Senate, pushing hard for a conviction.
I hope he's convicted. This is the most despicable act any president has done.
Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and other Democrats are standing firm against Donald Trump, saying the Senate must convict. But some Republicans say it's time to heal the country, not to impeach a man who's already out of office.
I think the trial is stupid. I think it's counterproductive. We already have a flaming fire in this country, and it's like taking a bunch of gasoline and pouring it on top of the fire.
The impeachment charge against the former president is incitement of insurrection. The House found that Trump's claims of a stolen election and his encouragement of a crowd on January 6th directly led to the siege on the Capitol that left 5 people dead. Now it's up to the Senate.
They know what Donald Trump said. They know the power of his words. They know that once he assembled the rally, inflamed the rally goers, and incited the mob, it was their lives that were at risk.
Tomorrow, senators will be sworn in as jurors in the trial, but the trial itself won't get underway for another 2 weeks. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Just ahead, a deeper look we're going to take at another coronavirus battle plan.
The Biden administration slamming former President Trump over not having a vaccine distribution plan. I'm Jackie Ibanez. I've got the breakdown of Biden's plan to combat the coronavirus coming up.
U.S. adults appear to know that wearing a mask is an effective way to protect themselves from COVID-19, but not many say they actually wear them, whether they're in close contact with others. Researchers at the University of Southern California polled more than 6,000 U.S. adults in December, finding 83% agreed that wearing a mask is an effective way to protect themselves from COVID-19, but only around 2/3 of Black and Hispanic respondents reported wearing a mask around others, and less than half of white Americans reported they did the same. Researchers call the rate of lack of mask wearing alarming. It's taken some time to get millions of COVID-19 vaccines distributed across the country, and the new administration is hoping to accelerate the rollouts to meet an ambitious goal. Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez looks at the plan to administer 100 million shots in 100 days.
The process to distribute the vaccine, particularly outside of nursing homes and hospitals, out into the community as a whole, did not really exist. We need more vaccine, we need more vaccinators, we need more vaccination sites.
Those are the points this administration is trying to tackle, with President Biden tasking the Federal Emergency Management Agency to create at least 100 vaccination centers by next month and bring in staff to deliver those shots.
By early February, we've tasked the Department of Health and Human Services to expand the pool of medical professionals who can administer the vaccine.
In places like Denver, Colorado, health officials are hoping to make mass vaccinations seamless. The city is preparing to vaccinate 10,000 people this weekend, and crews are busy studying trial data to make the rollout effective.
We're going to try to put together a playbook, so to speak, of the traffic flow, the patterns, how our appointments were sent out, where we staged pharmacy.
While President Biden remains hopeful he'll reach his goal, he's dealing out a harsh dose of reality, saying things will get worse over the next several months before they get better. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Chances are sometime in each of our lives we've said, "Don't leave me." So we can feel for this little guy, this little panda right here. Gonna meet him when we come back. It's one of the most adorable videos ever. Look at this, guys. A baby panda clinging to a zookeeper's leg and refuses to let go. Don't leave me! This is Fubo, a 6-month-old giant panda. She lives at the Everland Zoo in South Korea and has clearly developed quite an attachment to her caretakers. The zoo has released this video showing her clinging to the zookeeper's leg. Even when he pries her off, she still tries to hang on. Isn't that cute? Fubo is something of a celebrity as she's the first giant panda born in South Korea. Her parents were a gift from China back in 2016 as part of China's so-called panda diplomacy, meant to help with relations between the two countries. My wife can certainly identify, with our kids. I only do that sometimes with my wife because that's how well she takes care of each one of us. I'm lost without her. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
The Chiefs are headed to the Super Bowl for a second year in a row, and fans are gearing up. I'm Kate Kelly with details just ahead.
Also, the library in Carthage, Missouri, Maple Leaf City, is back open. Going to tell you, though, about some new rules put in place because of this pandemic. Chiefs are headed back to the Super Bowl, and fans are busy gearing up for game day. KOAM's Kent Kelly takes a look at some enthusiastic sales taking place over at Academy in Joplin.
Chiefs fans have been hoping for another big win at the Super Bowl, and now they've got their chance. It's a big deal for locals like Wes Harden.
Oh man, we were super excited watching the game. Of course, I've been to the AFC Championship the last 2 years. Didn't get to go this year for obvious reasons, but super excited to head back to the Super Bowl and excited to see him beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Harden is training his little boy to grow up to be a proper Chiefs fan, and Academy is doing its part to get everyone geared up for game day.
Right now we have the on-field championship shirts and then some other Nike shirts as well for the AFC Championship. I'm expecting to get the on-field hats and other things like that for the championship. So a lot of stuff still scheduled to come in, so we're excited to get it and get it for our customers.
Academy staff had Chiefs merchandise ready to go as soon as their Super Bowl status became official. It's been busy ever since.
And good turnout, even considering the pandemic and everything, still having a great turnout. And customers are just excited about it.
As for Harden, excited is an understatement. Win or lose, he says he'll stay a loyal fan and he'll be dressed in red and gold on game day.
Go Chiefs!
In Joplin, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
Go Chiefs. Those Chiefs are going to kick off against the Tampa Bay Bucks on February 7th on our sister station, CBS. Academy says they expect to see plenty of Chiefs merchandise flying off the racks leading up to Super Bowl Sunday. Representing the Southeast Kansas portion of Chiefs Kingdom, Jock Snitch in Pittsburgh is also seeing a lot of demand for their Chiefs apparel. Some of the items were picked up by Jock Snitch workers themselves. Others are being rushed by air delivery.
Other stuff is getting air freighted in, like the stocking hats, the hats. That product comes in all week long, along with like the Super Bowl programs. So we get stuff in pretty much every day this week through Saturday to put out in our stores, and luckily have 2 weeks to sell everything before the Super Bowl.
Jock Snitch workers say they buy Chiefs gear from 2 companies certified to make Super Bowl products. Carthage Public Library is back open, along with the Steadley Family Legacy Building marker space. It took 7 months to repair damages from a water leak. Now, heads up, there are new health rules at the library, including 30-minute limits inside.
So we use this abacus, and as people come through the door, we have a concierge person. They greet you, and they give you a little sticker to put on your clothes or hat or your hand that tells you they mark down 30 minutes. That's the time you have to leave.
3 computers are available at the library as well. Community Health Center Southeast Kansas is making sure young mothers in the area have some of the supplies needed to care for a baby. The center is providing baby boxes, which are filled with clothes, sheets, toys, and a mattress, so the box can be used for a bed for the baby. 80 boxes are going to be handed out to mothers in Crawford, Cherokee, Bourbon, and Labette counties.
We're looking for parents who don't have an opportunity to purchase a crib or a pack and play. Parents who are co-sleeping, we'll often suggest a thin bin for them.
The boxes were paid for by a grant from the Community Foundation of Southeast Kansas. Budweiser will not be running ads in the Super Bowl this year for the first time in 37 years. Instead, it will spend on the Ad Council's coronavirus vaccine public education campaign. Ad Age says the average cost for 30 seconds in this year's game, you ready? $5.5 million. Parent company Anheuser-Busch InBev will still run ads for its Bud Light and Michelob Ultra brands. If you're looking to visit Canada, I don't know, you might have to first spend 14 days in a hotel there as part of a new COVID rule. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says his government may require incoming visitors to quarantine at a hotel, at their own expense. Canadian officials are considering the new measure as a way to curtail new variants of the coronavirus. Canada already requires people entering the country to self-isolate for 14 days and present a negative COVID-19 test taken within 3 days before their arrival, but they are able to quarantine at home, at least for now anyway. The hotel rule is meant to discourage travel by people unwilling to pay for a hotel for 2 weeks. It will also allow authorities to keep a closer eye on those entering the country. Trudeau says he could implement the rule at any time. Global leaders are taking new actions to curb the spread of COVID-19 strains with more travel restrictions. We just heard one example. This coming as we learn more about how effective vaccines are against these new variants. Fox News correspondent Benjamin Hall has more.
Nearly 100 million coronavirus infections have been reported worldwide, with several new COVID-19 variants driving a surge of cases. The wave of infections driving global leaders to consider new travel restrictions to curb the spread. President Biden's administration announcing Monday it's expanding travel restrictions to include non-US citizens coming in from South Africa because of a more contagious strain.
It is clearly different and more ominous than the one in the UK, and I think it's very prudent to restrict travel of non-citizens.
Israel is temporarily shutting down its international airport to nearly all travelers, while EU officials are urging countries to reinforce testing and impose new quarantine measures.
The Commission proposes that all non-essential travel to and from high-risk areas is strongly discouraged, not only for cross-border travels, but also inside the different territories of the member states.
Here in the UK, vaccinations are ramping up to protect people against the new strains. Public health officials aim to give 15 million people, including everyone over 70, their first shot by mid-February. Moderna announcing Monday its formula effectively protects against the UK variant, but vaccine efficacy is slightly diminished against the South African strain.
Because the level of virus neutralizing antibody is still quite high, that six-fold reduction should not interfere with protection, although potentially it could cause a slight reduction.
Moderna says it's working to upgrade its vaccine formula to better protect against the South African strain. In London, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
Later, we're going to look at the inequalities analysts say are growing during this pandemic.
Definitely a gloomy Monday for us today. Of course, we had the clouds, we had the showers, we had the thunderstorms last night, some heavy amounts of rain as well across the region as our temperatures were well above freezing, but some pretty good amounts of rain, which very evident on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Our time lapse for you. You can see those bands of showers and then the clouds sticking around all day long for us today. Temperatures kind of cool, but not cold. 43 in Stockton, 42 in Miami, cooling down a bit. In our northwestern counties, 37 in Yates Center. Iola is sitting at about 35 degrees. Look at the winds all over the place today. Had an east, and then south, and southwest, and west, now switching to northwest as we have rotated around a very low pressure. So it is going to be breezy for us tonight and then again into the daytime hours tomorrow. Look at the heavy amounts of rain rolling through last night, especially late evening into the early morning hours. Then we got the dry slot that pushed in this morning. And then since then, we've just had clouds, few random showers, a little bit of drizzle, and that's what we're going to see at least over the next couple hours as this whole storm system rotates out of here, dropping pretty good amounts of snow actually across Nebraska, Iowa, and then all the way now into the Great Lakes, but of course staying all north of us. Here's our next weak little system. It's going to track pretty good. The problem is the system that just rolled through kind of took all the moisture, so this system's just not going to have much moisture to work with. As it slides out, you can see it in western parts of Arizona and then kicks into the Central Plains. So for us tonight, we have the clouds. And then as we head into tomorrow morning, I still think we're going to have a lot of clouds to start. It's going to be cold. We'll be near 30. We don't warm up that much, only into the upper 30s by the afternoon. But we should see some sunshine, which is nice. 33 to start, 35 by noon, high temp at 37. Northwesterly winds at about 10 to 20. Clouds thicken back up for us tomorrow night. We'll start to get some light snow showers late evening. And these are going to be hit and miss, so not everybody's going to have it. I think at least most of us will have at least flurries, but the light snow showers are going to be hit and miss. But we drop into the 20s. We see these random light snow showers all night into the early morning hours, and then any light snow showers that are out there should be gone by mid-morning on Wednesday, and then roll out of here, but Wednesday stays pretty cool. I don't expect much from this system, but if we do have accumulations, they're going to be light. So let's say most of us are dusting upwards to an inch, but right now we're kind of closer to that dusting to half-inch range, but something we'll keep our eyes on as we head into tomorrow. All right, let's go down the road. Thursday and Friday look pretty good. We start to warm back up. Next storm system moves in Saturday. That will give us rain chances, and it should be all on the liquid side. 37 tomorrow, 35 Wednesday, so kind of cold, but 49 Thursday, up to 57 by Friday. So at least our temperatures rebound very quickly.
Roller coaster continues, and obviously still be careful, but not too slippery roads tomorrow night.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be bad, but something we'll kind of reevaluate as we go through the day.
Yeah. All right, Hetty. Thanks so much, as always. Coming up, the link between mind and body.
I'm Elise Preston with a warning from doctors who say your mental health could have a dangerous impact on your heart health.
This is being called the mind-heart-body connection. The American Heart Association is bringing awareness to the role mental health can play in heart disease prevention and treatment. Reporter Elise Preston has more on how improving psychological health can lead to a healthier heart.
49-year-old James Young takes care of himself now, but says in his 30s he was living a destructive life and ignoring warning signs like shortness of breath, fast heart rate, and weight gain.
I spent a lot of time drinking heavy, smoking, and eating a lot of fast food.
James was hospitalized at 40 with congestive heart failure and finally faced he was feeling depressed.
I wasn't very happy with my life at the point. I realized I'm really playing Russian roulette with my health.
According to the American Heart Association, psychological health can impact overall health and heart disease and stroke risk. Dr. Glenn Levine is an author of the new report.
People who are stressed, anxious, depressed, or pessimistic, they tend to have higher risk factors for heart disease, such as more hypertension, higher glucose levels, they're obese, and they tend to do worse when they have heart problems.
People with a positive outlook are usually healthier, according to experts. They also have fewer risk factors and tend to do better if they have heart disease.
There are very good medicines these days that are very effective in helping with depression and other conditions. There's also psychological counseling and even meditation.
James says exercise has helped him. He's now an avid cyclist.
I've definitely made a lot of changes in terms of my physical activity, my eating habits, placing myself in more positive environments.
He encourages others to take care of their mental health before it takes a dangerous physical toll.
The Heart Association suggests regular mental health screening for people who have or are at risk for cardiovascular disease. Back with more news after this. As the nation and the world, for that matter, continue battling the public health crisis brought on by the coronavirus, experts say COVID-19 is also causing harm in other areas, including the economy and race relations. Fox's Krista Mayo has more on the inequalities officials say we need to address in the wake of the pandemic.
This year, inequality is set to rise in almost every country in the world.
COVID-19 is earning itself a new name, the inequality virus. This, according to a new Oxfam study. Analysts found the majority of the richest people on Earth recovered their COVID-19 financial losses in roughly 9 months, while the poor aren't expected to return to pre-pandemic levels for another decade, creating the greatest rise in global economic inequality in the last 100 years.
During the pandemic, the 10 billionaires made $500 billion. At the other end of the spectrum, we know millions of people have lost jobs.
But inequalities stemming from COVID-19 aren't just impacting finances.
It exposed the racism and the discrimination and the injustice that laid on the bottom of America.
According to some government officials, the virus is negatively affecting more people of color.
Blacks died at twice the rate of whites. Hispanics died at 1.5 times the rate of whites.
This comes as recent data from an Associated Press NORC poll found 2 in 5 African Americans say they would not get the vaccine.
We will make it available through churches, community groups, public housing, in many different ways to make sure it is accessible to the hardest hit communities of color.
President Biden is also weighing in.
We have also formalized the Health Equity Task Force to ensure that equity is at the core of everything we do, both in urban and rural communities alike.
Middle class and lower income earners are expected to benefit from the president's rescue plan. It gives local governments $350 billion aimed at keeping teachers, firefighters, and other public servants from facing COVID-related job cuts. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
All right, going to check out the list of new movies now available on DVD and those on-demand services after this. Digital and DVD releases this week include a high-tech horror thriller, a dark Christmas comedy, a classic musical comedy, and more. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a list of those new releases.
This is Larry. A demonic skeletal creature, an unorthodox Santa Claus, a charming stalker, and more. Here's a look at what's new in home entertainment. Something in-house. In the horror film Come Play, an 8-year-old autistic boy encounters an online storybook monster that manifests into the real world, terrorizing him and his family.
This is what people actually think of me.
Mel Gibson is Father Christmas in the dark comedy Fat Man. He plays a troubled, unorthodox Santa Claus struggling to save his declining business while fighting off a hitman hired by a 12-year-old boy who received a lump of coal in his stocking.
We gotta fight.
Dennis Quaid and Sean Patrick Flannery headline the combat sports movie Born a Champion, about a fighting legend who gets a second chance to prove himself in the ring.
Pretty sure we've never seen this.
Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan play New Orleans paramedics and longtime best friends who go on a mind-bending adventure through time in the sci-fi thriller Synchronic.
Welcome, Giacomo.
The classic musical comedy The Court Jester celebrates its 65th anniversary with a Blu-ray release.
Attention all passengers.
From TV to DVD, Season 1 of TNT's dystopian drama Snowpiercer starring Jennifer Connelly and Daveed Diggs. The second season of Netflix's psychological thriller You, starring Penn Badgley, as well as Season 2 of the HBO Max superhero show Doom Patrol.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
And for music fans, rock band Weezer unleashed their 14th album, OK Human, which features a 38-piece orchestra.
Everything that feels so good is bad.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Weezer has always been my favorite. That's our time for tonight. Yeah, Weezer, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a baby giant panda. How about that situation of yours? Baby giant panda taking a nap and playing at a South Korean zoo. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.